Hey, welcome back to Album April. It's April 28th, and today I listened to The Bends by Radiohead. It's kind of funny that I'm talking about Radiohead the day after I talked about Coldplay, because I kind of feel like a lot of people think of Radiohead as like Coldplay's cooler older brother. I think I have mixed to positive feelings about Radiohead overall. I do think they have much higher highs than Coldplay, but I can also definitely think about more problems with them in general. Most of it boils down to their tendency to be so obtuse, at least on first glance, that it sort of devolves into sounding pretentious. But that's actually a problem I thought started with OK Computer. The Bends was their second album. This album came at a very pivotal point in Radiohead's career because they just got done riding off the success of Creep, which was internationally successful. And they were scared that they were going to get boxed in the hopes of replicating that success. At this point, it seems to be common knowledge that they, at best, are kind of sick of Creep and at worst just hate it now. Either way, they're objectively wrong. Creep is the best song I've ever heard from Radiohead. Looking back on it, The Bends was definitely a sort of transitional period for Radiohead. Their first album, Pablo Honey, was heavily grunge influenced, and OK Computer is much more in line with the Radiohead that we think of these days. When looking back on it, The Bends does kind of get overshadowed by OK Computer when it comes to just like legacy and praise that people give it, though this is still a highly critically lauded album. It's not often that you hear people say that it's the best Radiohead album. I did know a girl in high school who thought that, and honestly, I'm inclined to agree with her. It probably was back in high school that I listened to the first three Radiohead albums, and I'm pretty sure I do remember liking The Bends the best out of the three. And revisiting it again today, yeah, no, this still holds up very well. I think that The Bends is a great middle ground between the emotion of Pablo Honey and the very interesting compositions you would get from OK Computer moving forward. There were some pretty grungy songs on this album. My Iron Lung is actually based off of how they saw Creep at the time. I do believe that song did kind of go off the deep end. I'm pretty sure that's the one that just like assaulted my ears with guitar feedback, sort of like the way that the Sonic Youth did. But while there were songs like that, there were also songs that were a bit softer and prettier, like High and Dry or Nice Dream. And then it ends with just this nakedly miserable song, Street Spirit. But ironically, its darkest song also has the album end on a somewhat hopeful note. I do think that Street Spirit is one of the better songs on this album, though I do believe it was overshadowed by what I consider to be its spiritual successor from OK Computer, Exit Music for a Film. But my favorite song from The Bends, and one of the best songs I think Radiohead ever made, was Fake Plastic Trees. From a compositional standpoint, this has like an immaculate build-up. The instrumentation, the singing, even the lyrics, they all are building up to the climax of this song, which I think is incredible. And then it ends, not with a bang, but with a whimper. Fake Plastic Trees is such a bittersweet, beautiful song. Overall, I thought that The Bends was great. If you like Britpop, if you like 90s alt-rock, this is a shining example of both of those subgenres. And even though this is definitely the unpopular opinion, I would take The Bends over OK Computer or Kid A any day. Alright, thanks for listening. I'll see you tomorrow.